This is The Competitive Edge with Stefan Pylarinos. Welcome to The Competitive Edge. My name is Scott Britton, and I'm here to help you answer a question that we all have. How can I get an edge in my business and life? Each week, we're going to uncover how some of the most successful and inspiring entrepreneurs, entertainers, and thought leaders get an edge, so you too can reach your full potential. Thanks for tuning in today. Now let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to The Competitive Edge. I'm really excited you're here today because we have a great episode with my buddy, Stefan Pylarinos. Stefan first got on my radar after I mentioned to a friend that I was thinking about publishing a book on the Kindle store. And I remember vividly him saying, you have to go check out Stefan's blog, Project Life Mastery. It's awesome. And I went there and my mind was absolutely blown. Stefan had created a system that allowed him to publish over 100 Kindle books in 1 year. And because of that, he was making tens of thousands of dollars each month, a lot of which was entirely passive. I dug a bit deeper and soon learned that besides being an incredibly savvy marketer and businessman, Stefan also was on the cutting edge of self-development. This is when I knew that we had to have him on the show. In today's episode, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at how Stefan's Kindle empire works, how anyone can replicate this strategy even if you can't write or aren't an expert, and how he uses a series of rituals to start each day in a peak state. If you don't know what peak state is, it's those instances where you feel that you're on and no matter what you do or say, it's going to go well. And a lot of times we think that these things just happen, but it actually turns out that this is something that is completely within your control, and Stefan is going to tell us exactly how to make that happen. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to share a few things that I do to remain in a peak state throughout my day as well. So let's go ahead and enjoy this episode with Stefan Pylarinos. Okay, Stefan, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I have to tell you, dude, you really inspired me to get my butt off the couch and publish my Kindle book. When I came to your website, Project Life Mastery, and saw how well you're doing with your income reports as well as all the personal development stuff, I got so excited and remember thinking that this guy speaks my language.
Awesome, man. It's my pleasure. That's what I live for. I love to inspire people, and I just try to live my life at the highest level possible and share with people what I'm doing, and hopefully that can have an impact on other people to get them to take action as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so today I thought we could talk about two areas that I know that our listeners love, and that's business and mindset. And I want to focus on how you've managed to generate an awesome passive income business on Amazon, as well as your famous morning routine, which I found out a little bit about today. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Cool, man. So I couldn't help but see in your March progress report that you share how you're doing your business and developing all different parts of your life, that you made over $50,000 in March. And a lot of that was made passively through the Amazon Kindle store, as well as a course that you teach on selling products on Kindles. Can you take a minute and explain exactly how you make money on Amazon?
Yeah, sure. So, that 50,000, it's from multiple streams of income that I have. I do blogging, I do Kindle publishing, and I've kind of developed a unique method to publishing different Kindle books that will each make me recurring passive income month after month. And then I also have a course that I teach people step by step how to do that. I do coaching, which isn't passive at all, in fact. And I also do affiliate marketing as well. But when it comes to Amazon and Kindle, the way that I came across that was, first, I've been doing online marketing for a few years now. And I actually first started by selling my own ebooks on ClickBank. And there were different ebooks that would help people treat different skin conditions, like chickenpox and psoriasis and eczema and everything. And I had a lot of success with that. And once, about 2.5, 3 years ago, when this whole Kindle thing was really exploding, I decided to try a little experiment and publish the ebooks that I already had written and created and publish them on Amazon as just as Kindle books, and just to see how well they would sell just by ranking them in the Amazon search engine. Because, I discovered that Amazon's a search engine just like Google. In fact, it's in many ways more powerful than Google because Amazon is a paid search engine. People go there to buy stuff. They already have their credit card on file and everything. Amazon, I think, has over 300 million credit cards in their system. And so when someone wants to buy something, they just press a button and it's a one-click buy. They don't have to enter their credit card information. And so I was always ranking before on Google, but I just decided that I'd take advantage of Amazon and try that out as well. And just by publishing these books, I think I had 12 books that I published, and I published them all at different price points. I was immediately able to rank them really fast. The Amazon search engine is a lot more simple and straightforward than Google is. If anyone that's done SEO and try to rank something on Google knows that Google's always making updates and changes, and I've been affected by the Google Penguin and Panda and all these different things. Whereas with Amazon, it's a fairly simple and easy process, and it's not as competitive either to be able to rank something. So once I put up these books, I immediately started making money fairly fast, a couple $100 a month, without really even having to do much at all. And then from there, I had the idea of, why don't I take content that I've already created? Because I have as you know, a self-development blog, and I've written a lot of my own content. I also have a lot of videos too. So I had the idea of, why not take the content I've already created, have it rewritten or transcribed in some way, and then upload them to Kindle and publish them as just these little short books, and sell these books. There might be 20 pages or 30 pages, but sell them for $2.99. And I ended up doing that, and I published a whole whack of books in all these based on different keywords that people are searching for on Amazon. And I was blown away to see my income went from a couple $100 a month to a couple $1,000 a month pretty fast. And from there, I scaled it up. It really got my attention. I started learning more about Kindle and Amazon and how it works. I realized, I kind of developed a strategy of outsourcing my books. And so I kind of view myself more as a publishing company, where I find different writers that can write books on different topics for me really inexpensively. And I'll, be able to get covers done inexpensively for my books, and basically just publish these books that all add value, all help people. They're short books, but they're only selling for about $2.99. And I also discovered that what really sells well on Kindle is actually selling a series of books. So instead of having one book that's like 200 pages and you're selling for $10, instead break that 200-page book down into 5 30-page books or something like that, and then sell them each for $2.99 and have them each kind of cross-promote each other and funnel into each other. So that's in a nutshell, I guess, my method and what I've been doing, and I've been having some incredible success with it. I've been able to help so many people do this as well. It's been pretty remarkable, and I'm always blown away just by the testimonials, success stories with it. To give you an idea, everyone in my family does this now. My sister does, who's a stay-at-home mom, doesn't know anything about the internet. She's having a lot of great success. My brother, who's doing this as well, he was actually really successful. He actually has a renovations business here in Vancouver and makes millions of dollars. He's actually one of my mentors financially, but he doesn't have any freedom. He doesn't have any passive income. And so he got into this to be able to create that freedom and passive income for himself. And he's been doing well. My mom, who's in her 60s and approaching retirement, I've got her on board with this. Oh man, my cousins, my friends, it's pretty remarkable.
Do you guys just get together at family reunions and just share your Kindle profit earnings and sit around?
Well, it's really funny because Easter was last weekend, and I went over for a family thing, and I have all my family members surrounding me and talking to me about asking questions, and more people want to get involved in it and everything. So it's pretty funny. It's just a great. It's a great way to get started making money online, because the learning curve is pretty easy compared to a lot of the other ways to make money online. I know for me, when I was doing the ClickBank stuff, man, it was so much to it. I had to create the product, I had to create the sales page, I had to create a blog, I'd have to drive traffic, I had to deal with customer support, I'd have to set up the affiliate marketing side of things. I had to know copywriting, set up email sales funnels. There was so much to it. And it honestly took me years to actually be able to make money online doing that. Whereas the Kindle, Amazon does everything for you. You just got to have a book and a cover and just select the right niche and market and be able to rank it, which is pretty easy. And then they do everything else for you. You're leveraging their traffic, their customers, and they're going to promote and sell your products for you. So I find this is a great way to get started. And it's probably the easiest and fastest way that I've found to make money online.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I love that you pointed out that anybody can do this, because the first questions that come to mind are A, what if I suck at writing? And B, what if I'm not an expert? Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, sure. So first, you absolutely do not have to be a writer. In fact, I remember my mentor, Frank Kern, was taught a long time ago that you do not want to be a writer. He says that writers do not make money. It's marketers that make money. And writing, for the most part, is something that you can leverage or outsource. Now, I've personally written some of my own books, and I've enjoyed that. And because I enjoy the process, and I put my name behind those, and there are things that I'm proud of. But the amount of time it will take me to write my own book, I could actually outsource like 10 books and hire different writers to do that for me and be able to make more money from those 10 books than the amount of time it's going to take me to write one. And so you do not have to be a writer by any means. I've been able to outsource 5,000 word books for as low as $50, and they're great quality books that do help people. And because they're nonfiction too, they just have to be very factual books. Whereas if you go into the fiction realm, generally your book will have to be higher quality because people want to be more engaged. They want to be entertained by the book and everything. But when it comes to nonfiction, the main thing people care about is that, does this book solve my problem? If you've got a book on binge eating and how to overcome it, people just want a book and they're going to pay money for it as long as it helps them overcome their binge eating problem or whatever their challenge might be. So I just view these books as something that's going to solve people's problems at a profit. So you absolutely don't have to write your own books. You can outsource them. And I actually have a client who's dyslexic. Like, he can't even write his book descriptions, and he outsources that too. So I've seen some pretty extreme examples of people like that. And sorry, what was the second part of your question?
And what if you're not an expert? So even if you have somebody else write it on a topic, like if I don't know about binge eating or whatever it is where I see an opportunity, does that mean that I shouldn't publish a book?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You also do not have to be an expert on it either. In fact, the company and the writers that I use, they do all the research for me and on the topic. And so they're basically going to do all the research on, let's say on a binge eating problem or whatever. They're going to find different resources on the internet and basically take all the best information and put it together into one resource, which is going to be your book. So you don't have to be an expert. You can leverage the expertise and the knowledge from other people. I've even gone as far as, found like sending to the writers a great course or a great video on YouTube or other great resources, and provided them the information and said, I want you to put this take some of the information from this, some of the concepts from this, some of the lessons, some of the strategies from this, and incorporate it into a book. And so, I view a book as something that provides value, and you don't have to claim, I don't recommend people to even claim that you're an expert. If you're doing a book on health, don't say that you're a doctor or anything like that. Just basically in your marketing, you can say, this is a book that has all the best stuff that I've discovered on how to overcome binge eating. It's all the best stuff that I found on the internet, all these different resources. And yeah, you could spend your time and energy to try to find all the information for free, or you can just buy this book for $2.99 and just kind of have the best of the best all in one place. So that's kind of the approach that I take with it.
Love it. If people want to figure out where they can use some of these outsourced resources, where do you recommend they go?
Yeah, so there's a few different options. One, a popular website where you can find freelancers is a website like odesk.com or elance.com. And basically, if you went on one of these websites, you could basically post a job saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody that can write a 5,000 word book on this subject. Here's the title of the book. This is what I want it to cover and everything. You put up a job like that, you're going to have people all over the world that are going to apply for that. And when it comes to hiring someone for that, you obviously want to make sure you interview them. You want to make sure that you look over maybe their portfolio or previous writing that they've done, their feedback rating on Odesk and everything, so you can see what other people have said about them and everything. You can even filter the results and look at what their English level is as well, because people on Odesk, they have to take an English test. So if you want to make sure you have someone that has, because a lot of these people are going to apply are from like Philippines or India, all these different countries, which is a great way to hire these people, because you can get rates that are so much cheaper than hiring someone in North America. So that's what really gives you the ability by hiring offshore. And you can find a lot of these native English speaking writers that can write quality books for you, and they might even, they'll basically be able to show you work that they've done and other books that they've done and published and everything. So that's one way. And then there's also, a few companies and a few other resources that you can go to. I like to use a forum called the Warrior Forum, warriorforum.com. You can go on there. You can find a lot of different writers there in the Warrior for Hire section. And there's some other companies that I use where, if I need to get a bulk, because I usually, sometimes I'll order like 20 or 30 books at a time from a company, and I'll publish all those books within, a month or so. So there are some companies as well where they have multiple writers that can write a lot of books for you in a short period of time.
So, I mean, this all sounds awesome and interesting. And the fact that you can outsource it and don't even have to be a writer or an expert is amazing. I'm curious what you think the most complicated part of this whole process is.
Yeah, the most complicated and the most important part of this whole process is doing the research, finding the best niche or the best market, and making sure that there's a high enough demand for it while not being there too much competition. So, the way that Amazon works is people type in specific keywords, right? So they, just like any other search engine, they're typing in a keyword, and when they search for that keyword, they're going to get a certain number of results that show up. And, they're going to see all these books. They type in binge eating. Well, they're not going to scroll down to all the multiple pages and look at all the books. They're generally going to look at the first few results that show up for that and decide from there based on the cover, the title, which is the headline, the reviews, and the price, whether or not, they're going to buy this book or not. So the most important part of the process is discovering those niches, those markets, and those keywords that people are searching for, and making sure that you can rank your book, for that keyword and be successful in it. So there's some niches that, there'd be a big demand and market for. So for example, real estate, but the challenge with that market or weight loss is that it's just way too competitive. It's going to be very challenging for you to outrank some of these other books that might have hundreds of reviews and are more established authors and everything. Whereas if you can find these smaller little niches and smaller little categories, so instead of weight loss, maybe you target the paleo diet or the, gluten-free diet or the low-carb diet, or just something a little bit more of a narrow niche that is less competitive but still has a big enough demand and market that you can make money from.
And how do you do this niche selection?
Yeah, I have a process I go through where first and foremost, I just do a brainstorm session. So I'll think of as many different niches, topics, ideas that I can think of. Sometimes I might go to different websites like ezinearticles.com and just kind of look at the different categories, look at different articles people are publishing, articles on and everything, and just kind of take out a journal and write some of that stuff down. So, for example, there's a category they have just on health, and they have everything from like acne and autism and, just back pain and all these different health things that just all of a sudden would just give me all these ideas of potential markets that I could create books on. I'll do that. I'll also even just go to Amazon.com and just kind of browse around there and, kind of look at other people's books and look in the different categories. And, there's just so many markets and niches out there. And then once I have my list, then I'll try to narrow it down to about 10 ideas that I have and try to figure out what is the biggest or what is the keyword that people are searching for on Amazon for this topic. And so in the case of binge eating, what I would do is, I'd discover people would type in the keyword binge eating or binge eating disorder, or they might type in emotional eating or overeating or sugar addiction. There's kind of all these different angles and keywords that people would search for. And then what I'd do from there is I would search for those keywords. And what I like to do is I like to try to find a book in Amazon that's ranking that's similar to a book that I would create. So usually a book that's selling at $2.99 and that has maybe 10 reviews or something. And I like to look and see how much money that book is making, how well it's doing. And one of the ways you can do that is on the book page for every book or product on Amazon, they have something called the Amazon bestseller ranking. And what I've discovered is that a book that is selling at $2.99 and has an Amazon bestseller ranking of 100,000 or better will be making $50 to $100 a month passive income. And so when I basically do my search for binge eating, I want to look to see if there's other books out there that are similar to what I'm doing. And if I want to see that they're making money and how much money they're making. And then from there, it kind of validates to me that there's a market there for this and that I can make money from it too. And I'll also even kind of assess the top 6 results usually that show up and look to see if I can maybe create a book that can stand out in some way. I look to see the strength of those books and how many reviews they have so that, maybe I can kind of swoop in there and get my book ranked up there with them. And then from there, once I kind of look at a few of these indicators and everything, and I feel pretty confident and certain that there's a market there for this and I can do pretty well with it, that's when I move on to the next step of basically coming up with a title for my book and outsourcing the book and the cover.
Got it. And I guess just to provide transparency for people that haven't launched a book on Amazon, how do they do their rankings again?
Yeah, so the way that the rankings work with Amazon, well, first, it's kind of a closely guarded secret. We're really just trying to reverse engineer it and figure out how it is. But I've pretty much, just from my experience of ranking over, because I've actually published over 150 books now. So I've quite a bit of experience ranking books and making money from them. So one is, first of all, you have to make sure that your whatever keyword you want to rank for, that keyword's in the title of your book. Preferably, the sooner that keyword can be in the title, then the higher Amazon is going to rank you for that keyword. So, an example, one of the books that I have is called The Binge Eating Cure. And so, by having the keyword binge eating in there, it's going to basically, Amazon, when people search for that, it's going to determine that my book's relevant to that keyword, and it's going to rank it higher as opposed to books that don't have that keyword in optimized like that. So the rank, having the keyword in the title is important. Also, you can add your keyword to a keyword section when you publish your book. Amazon allows up to 7 keywords that you can insert for your book. And then the other factors that play a role is how many sales your book gets or how many downloads your book gets. So sales are basically when your book is on a paid status. So when you're selling it from 99 cents or $2.99 or whatever it is, the more sales that your book gets, then the higher that Amazon bestseller ranking number is going to be. And the higher that is, and the higher your book is going to rank for your keywords. Another thing that plays a role is downloads. So Amazon gives you the ability to offer a free promotion on your book every 90 days. And you can offer a 5-day free promotion. And basically the main purpose for that I use it for, is just to get as many downloads as I can during those 5 days, which will help give my book that boost in ranking. So I've had some books that have gotten several thousand downloads in 5 days. And, when I first published them, they were nowhere to be found ranking for my keyword. But after getting thousands of downloads, then all of a sudden it just shoots up in the ranking for the search and it gets ranked up higher there. Another thing that plays a role too is reviews. And so there's 2 different types of reviews. There's verified reviews and unverified reviews. Unverified review is when somebody posts a review for a book without even purchasing it or buying it or downloading it in any way. A verified means that someone actually bought the book or downloaded it and then posted the review for it. So generally verified reviews have more weight and will help you rank better and help you get more sales to your book than unverified. But for the most part, those are the main things that play a role in your book's ranking.
Got it. And I'm thinking in my head here. I'm like, okay, cool. There's probably a lot of niches out there that are untapped, but I don't want to have anything to do with like wiffle ball mastery or whatever things people aren't doing. And I know that you can do a pen name, but my question is like, I just released a book and I put it out to my audience on Facebook and Twitter, my friends, I asked for reviews, all that good stuff. When you have a book that is under a pen name that you don't necessarily feel comfortable asking all of your friends and family and people to help you out, how do you go about marketing and ranking that book?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yeah, just to clarify, you can use a pen name, so you don't have to have your name behind these books. I have a lot of different books where I just use a pen name for, and it's pretty common in the publishing industry. Mark Twain is a pen name. A lot of these erotica niches and novels and everything, they're all pen names. So I use pen names on books that I didn't personally write myself, just because I don't want to have my name behind it. I only want to have my name behind books that I've personally written. In the case of that, there's a few ways you can market your book. I usually actually, to be honest, really don't really go to my friends and family for reviews or help with that, simply because I have so many books. But what I do is, depending on the topic or the niche that I'm in, I'll try to find groups or find out where that market or demographic is. So if it's binge eating, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join all the Facebook groups that are related to binge eating, or even the forums and the message boards, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to basically post in them and offer to give away my book for free. And so just by doing that, just offering, hey guys, I got a book that's free. I can either gift it to you. You can actually buy your own book and gift it to someone. Or when you set up the free promotion, you can give it away that way as well. But basically all these people that have this challenge, they're going to, happily receive your book, in which case you can follow up with them after that and ask them if they're willing to post a review for you. So that's one way of doing it. And it's great because you're getting targeted buyers and targeted reviews of people that are actually interested in that subject. Another way you can do it as well is find other publishers or authors, and you can review each other's books. These are essentially called review exchanges. Now, Amazon doesn't really like this kind of stuff, but there's still so many people that do it. So basically, Scott, we know each other. And if I have a book and I said, hey, Scott, can you take a look at this book? And if you feel this book has any value or could help people, would you be willing to post a review for it? And, because you're my friend and because I know you, I'm sure you'll do that. And, you'll probably ask me from one of your books or something like that as well. And for the most part, I think everyone that's in business, every author does this. If you buy a Tony Robbins book and you look on the back of the book and you see these testimonials on it from Ken Blanchard and Brian Tracy and all this stuff, these endorsements, those are endorsements just from his friends. He's basically just reaching out to them and asking them for a testimonial and asking for an endorsement. So that's a fairly common thing that you can do as well. There's a lot of Facebook groups, and I have my own Facebook group as well with all the members of my course where they help. It's kind of like a community where we all help each other. We all promote each other's books. Of course, you want to make sure that your reviews are honest and ethical. You don't want to review something that is crap or doesn't have any value. But as long as you're making sure that you're being honest about it, and you can find these communities where everybody will help each other out. So it's pretty cool.
Love it, man. Tell for everybody listening, what's like the first thing they should do if they listen to this interview and they say, okay, I'm ready to start making money online. I'm going to do it on Kindle. What do I do?
To be honest, and I'm not saying this to really promote myself or anything, but the best step to really achieve anything or make money with anything is to find a proven method, product, course, a coach, a mentor, somebody that can basically give you the steps and the path of doing it. And that's what I've done to make money on Kindle, make money with anything that I've done, is I've always found mentors, courses, products, something that already has paved the way for me. And then I just followed those steps exactly. You could do things on your own. I mean, if you want to search around on the forums and piece together all the information yourself and try to figure out how to do everything, you could do that, but honestly, it's going to save you a lot of time and money just by investing in a quality course. It doesn't have to be my course. I'm not saying that for this reason, but find someone that you trust, someone that's an expert on this, someone that is credible and has results and success, and invest in that. And then basically just do exactly what it says. And the more that you're learning about this and investing in yourself to get better and better, the more success you're going to have with it too. And, I've seen people, and, for me, I was one of the people, I think, where I was very stubborn to invest in anything. I always thought I could do things on my own. And the truth was that if I could have done things on my own, then I would have already done it by then. So it wasn't until I opened myself up and was willing to actually invest in myself and find someone that can help guide me and just take me there. That's really the best advice that I could give anyone.
I'm so glad that you finished up talking about investing in yourself, because it needs to be seen as that. It needs to be seen not as I'm buying a course, I'm buying a lesson, I'm buying an audio CD, whatever it is. Like, no, you're investing in your success in the future. And a lot of people that are my friends, like, I can't believe you sell courses. I can't believe people buy them. And I'm like, dude, the reason that, and the reason that I am able to do the things I'm able to do is because I spent a ton of money, like tens of thousands of dollars, on educating myself from the top online business people.
Totally. I'm huge in that. And honestly, that's the main reason factor of why I am where I am today. Since I was 17 years old, I was reading books. I was listening to Tony Robbins and all that sort of stuff. Eventually I started going to seminars, and I've been to Tony Robbins has a seminar called Unleash the Power Within. I've been to it 5 times. I'm going actually for the 6th time this year, and I'm going to bring my family with me. I spent $4,000 on seminars. I just bought a course recently that was $4,000. I have no problem with that because it's an investment in myself to become better and better, and that's what's going to allow me. I did 50 grand last month. Well, this is what's going to allow me in the next few years to be making 100 grand a month and beyond that. So the people that aren't willing to invest in themselves and that have that mentality, unfortunately, are the ones that don't really get anywhere and kind of struggle because they're taking the hardest path to get there, which is trying to do things on their own. So, for me, it's the best investment you really can make.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Me and my roommates talk about this all the time, where it's like, all right, if I had unlimited amount of money, like what's the first thing I would buy? And my answer is so simple. I would buy the best coaches for every single part of my life that I wanted to improve.
Totally.
So I'm really glad that you dropped the T word, and that by the T word I mean Tony Robbins, because I know we've talked about this before. The guy has changed my life. I know he's changed yours. One of the concepts that's really powerful that Tony teaches, and that I know that you place a lot of value in, especially in your morning routine, is this concept of state and basically operating at a peak state. Can you tell everybody listening what that really means?
Yeah, sure. The state that you're in really determines your behavior. I don't know about you, but, for me, when I'm tired, when I'm depressed, when I'm in a bad state, when I'm just feeling down or frustrated or angry, usually I don't really feel like being very productive or taking action or really even doing anything. So I've learned that, in order to get myself to be productive and perform at the highest level, or to get myself to do certain things, then I need to condition and put myself in the best state possible. And so Tony Robbins has, he talks about these 3 ways of changing your state. And the first thing that affects how you feel, your state, is your physiology, meaning how you use your body language will affect how you feel. He says emotion is created by motion. And so, if you're just kind of, slumped over and you're breathing shallow and there's tension in your body, your head's down, your shoulders down, you're not really moving very much, then you're probably going to feel pretty bad, and when you're in that bad state, you're not really going to be motivated to take action or really do anything in your business. And so the opposite of that is if you put yourself in a state and change your body to standing up straight, smiling, having your head back, your shoulders up, breathing fully, shaking out your body, using your hands, your movements, your gestures and everything, using your facial expressions, just by making those little shifts alone, it biochemically changes how you feel. And so how you use your physiology is one of the most important things you can do, of just radically changing how you feel. And if you put yourself in that state, if I think about how would I stand right now if I was totally confident, and I put that posture in my body, and I just change the way I'm moving and breathing to as if I was totally confident, unstoppable, it starts to put me in that confident state, which is what's going to allow me to take action and have more success or do whatever it is that I want to do. So how you use your body is important. The next thing is what you focus on. Whatever you focus on, you feel. So if you're focused on why things aren't going to work out for you, if you focus on things not working, if you focus on you not being good enough, focus on the past failures, the past experiences, then of course it's going to create a lot of uncertainty in yourself, and you're going to start to feel those negative emotions as well, of doubt, frustration that you can't do this. And as long as you focus on that, you're not going to take action. Whereas if you start to focus on times in your life when you did feel confident, you start to focus on things working out and going well, you start to focus on the successes that you've had in your life, all the little wins and everything, and you use those and you start to focus on and start seeing things how you want to see it and how you want things to be, that will put you in a totally different state that will create certainty and allow you to take action and follow through. The third thing is your language and the words that you use. So the words we use also affect how we feel. So if you start saying things to yourself like, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or this isn't going to work, then of course, by saying those words and those phrases, it's going to put you in that negative state. And so a little trick that I have is just saying the opposite. So if I start saying to myself, I can't do this, I'll start to say, I can do this. If I say this doesn't work, I'll start saying this does work. I will make this work. If I can't find a way, I'll make a way. And so just by saying the antithesis of that, the opposite, and start to conditioning those new thoughts, it'll start to change how you feel as well. And so really, ultimately, that's what determines our state and how we feel. But the challenge is we all have habitual, almost like a default way of being, because we have these patterns within us that we naturally talk a certain way or move a certain way or breathe a certain way, or these words that we just say again and again, or these phrases that we've just been saying our entire lives. And so I believe that you have to begin to condition yourself over a period of time with these three things to change your default way of being from wherever you are right now to performing at your best consistently.
Yeah. And it really comes down to like whatever you project either in your head or physically, that's what ends up being reality. And so many people just think that, oh, like this is just the way I am. This is my personality, or this is whatever it is. And it's like, no, actually, like the way that you're inhabiting the world is just the pattern that you decided to go with. Like you can change anything. You can change your personality. You can change who you are. Because all of these things, even like the way that we converse with others, is just a habit that we've created.
Yeah. Well, for me, the reason why this really changed my life in so many ways is because I used to be very shy and introverted. Back when I was in high school, I was addicted to my, video games and watching TV, and I skipped school a lot. And I was basically always a shy, quiet kid, very quiet voice, I was depressed, never had any confidence to talk to a girl or had a girlfriend or anything like that. So once I started learning this, the biggest thing I learned was that I had conditioned myself my entire life to be that way, that my shyness wasn't really who I was. That wasn't my identity, because really within myself, I had the ability to be confident and certain and who I wanted to be, but I had conditioned myself through these patterns of my way of breathing and standing and my body language and my, what I was focusing on and everything, and my language to basically be and have the behavior of being shy. And so once I realized that I was doing this and I was creating this myself, and the same thing goes with being depressed and everything, that I was just focusing on certain things that were making me feel depressed, and I was using my body a certain way that was making me feel depressed, I was able to break myself out of that by starting to condition the way I'd want to use my body, my focus, and just, to be confident. And I actually started to apply this first and foremost with dating in my social life. And I remember I used to go out and I was terrified of the idea of just approaching a random attractive woman. I think that gives a lot of guys a lot of anxiety, but I forced myself to do it. And the only way I was able to get myself to do it was by putting myself in a peak state where I was in that state of certainty and confidence. And that would first allow me to actually have the courage to even go up to a woman and talk to her. But what would create that attraction with her and actually make her interested in me was the confidence in the state that I'd be in, because there might be sometimes I might approach someone or talk to someone or even give a speech or a presentation or coach someone where I'm not in a great state and I have uncertainty and doubt, and other people can feel it. Whereas if I put myself in that peak state of confidence, certainty, I'm on fire, I'm feeling good, then it's almost contagious. It's infectious to other people around you. Other people feel that. If you look at a professional athlete, what determines their performance on a nightly basis generally isn't even their skill set, because LeBron James or Sidney Crosby or whatever professional athlete out there, they can have bad games, and it's usually not their skill, but it's the state that they're in. It's the confidence that they have that allows them to really perform at their best. So I think the state is one of the most powerful, important things that anybody could really change and focus on, that can affect everything in your life, from relationships to business to anything.
Absolutely. And if you're like, one way to think about state, if you're still kind of wrestling with this concept, it's if you've ever like been at a party and there's just everything you say is just hitting, like people are laughing and you have a total freedom of words and freedom of body, relaxed, and you just feel unstoppable. You feel on fire. And what most people think is that getting to that place where you're uninhibited and just so decisive in your actions and feeling great is just something that happens by chance occasionally. And when it happens, you should take advantage of it. But in reality, this is a way of living and feeling that you can access at any time if you condition yourself properly, which it sounds like you've done a great job of. And one of the things that I thought we could talk about is how you get yourself into a peak state on a daily basis.
Sure, yeah. I have something called my morning ritual, and I've got a YouTube video on this. It's been really popular with like 400,000 views now, I think, that I do first thing in the morning, just to make sure, because I think how you start the day is one of the most important times to do it of all, because it's going to set up the frame and everything, and you're going to get momentum for the entire day. So I do a little ritual that I do to help condition myself and make sure that I'm in a peak state each day, because I think most people, they wake up and they're generally in a horrible state, and they're dragging themselves to work and they're stressed out. And of course, when you're like that, you're just not going to perform very well throughout the day, and you're not going to be getting the most out of your days in your life. So there's something I do in the morning, and there's also a ritual that I do throughout the day as well. Certain moments that I need to perform at my best. For example, is I have a ritual before I do an interview. I have a ritual before I coach a client. I have a ritual before I create a video on my blog. Just because those are moments, so I want to make sure that I'm in a great state, that I can be at my best in that moment. So just like a professional athlete before a game, they've got the ritual they do. I have that as well. So to give you some practical stuff, what I do first thing in the morning is the moment that I wake up, the first thing I do is I smile. And as simple as that sounds, it's probably one of the most important things you can do, because just by putting that smile on your face, it represents so much. For me, it's just what it means for me is just being grateful for this day, being actually appreciative, like, oh my God, I'm alive today. Like I have another day, another opportunity to grow, to give, to improve my life, or to pursue my goals or my dreams. So smiling is key. It's also going to affect, it affects your physiology. So it's going to release different chemicals in your brain, endorphins and everything. So you're going to start to feel good right away. I also do breathing as well, some breathing exercises, just to give myself, my body some oxygen and just kind of get that flowing. I like to do something physical right away too. So I have a mini trampoline, it's called a rebounder. And I'll just kind of jump up and down on that for a few minutes. And what that does for me is it just kind of helps loosen up my body, and it helps you take in a lot more oxygen. And the more oxygen you have, the more energy you're going to have, because it goes into your bloodstream, and the more oxygen you go to your brain, it's just going to wake you up and make you feel good. And it also helps stimulate lymph in your body, which is the sewage system for your body, and get rid of all those toxins that you've accumulated overnight. I drink water, some alkaline water, because your body's been dehydrated, while you're sleeping. So you want to make sure you hydrate yourself. I try to stay away from coffee and all those kind of stimulants and everything, because I think that we can naturally just nourish our bodies and put ourselves in a state naturally, instead of having to depend on those things. So those are a few physical things that I do. And then I also do what are called incantations or affirmations. Tony Robbins calls incantations. But I basically say out loud certain phrases or certain just affirmations that really help put me in a great state. So one of them might be, all I need is within me now, or I might say, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. Or every day in every way I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every day in every way I'm getting healthier and healthier. Just by saying that and getting in a rhythm, and when you say it, actually saying it with by using your body, your voice, and actually having some emotion behind that. And it's amazing when you start doing that for a few minutes, you start to feel vibrant. I also have, I usually have little cards that I have with different phrases and stuff. But, for me, I'm really into health and fitness. I'm doing a fitness competition. So one of the beliefs that I always condition every day is that, It's nothing tastes as good as being healthy and fit feels. So I'll say that to myself, or I'll say, I eat to fuel my body, not satisfy an appetite. So those are just little things that I say. I might even say little short things like, I'm determined, I'm confident, I love my life. Just by saying those out loud, it starts to put you in this incredible state, and you start to change your beliefs and start to believe that stuff too. I also do ask myself certain questions to change my focus. So I might ask myself, what am I grateful for in my life, and what am I happy about, and what am I proud of in my life? What am I excited for in my life? Who do I love in my life? How can I be more passionate today? How can I really enjoy today and get the most of it? What can I give today? By asking myself those questions, it changes my focus, because I have to come up with answers to them. Yep. And it starts to put me in a much better state.
I think that our brain, I mean, that's the way that our brain operates, is we end up answering the questions that we ask ourselves, and that's what we decide to focus on, which thus in turn determines how we feel. And, you know, we suck naturally at asking ourselves the right questions, whether that's thinking about like how to grow our business or whether we should eat something or, you know, whatever, how we feel, whatever it is. So I'm just really impressed and thankful that you're sharing with us all of these type of questions and basically rituals and practices that you've intentionally inserted into your day so that whether you feel good or don't feel good it's not even a question. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah. And, you know, you have to be proactive with it. You can't be reactive. You have to consciously do this and consciously put effort into conditioning yourself every day, just like building a muscle at the gym. You know, because if you don't, then you're just going to be responding to the demands and everything else around you. You know, most of the beliefs, the thoughts, everything we have, we basically modeled subconsciously by the people in our lives. You know, maybe your parents growing up, your friends or family, the media, the news, all this stuff has been feeding us. And if we don't consciously put in effort to feed ourselves and become better each day, then we're just going to be the byproduct of everything else around us. And, you know, the key thing, it doesn't matter what you do each day, but having some sort of ritual to get better and put yourself in a better state. Because I also do things like meditation. I do reading, you know, read a book, listening to audio programs. I go for walks some days. You know, I'll go to the gym. You know, the point is taking the most scarce resource that you have, which is your time, and giving that to yourself first and foremost so that you can be happy and you can improve yourself. And you know, really, the more that you give to yourself and you do that first thing in the morning, the more you're going to be able to give to others. And it's going to make such a difference for their day because you're going to be vibrating and have this great state. And it's going to affect all the people in your life and also everything that you do. So,
yeah. And I'm really glad that you decided to do yours and talk about yours in the morning, because it's so funny, man. Like a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm not a morning person. I hate the mornings. And I'm like, well, if I was like getting out of bed 12 minutes before work, hustling to the shower, like saying to myself, oh crap, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. And then like, you know, throwing a Twinkie, like a Twix bar or something in my mouth as I walk out the door, like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty miserable morning. But if you build these routines that make you feel really good and you're almost guaranteed nobody can mess with you at 7 a.m. like they can at 7 p.m. or even earlier. Like you're going to love waking up in the morning. It's going to be a special time, that is blissful and that is empowering. And that's why I always personally advocate people, you know, build a strong ritual and morning routine. So dude, I guess like your routine is pretty elaborate, and it's to a lot of people that are listening to this that don't have much of any routine and don't know where to start and are a little bit maybe even intimidated by doing all of these things when they're barely waking up for time to work in the morning. What would you recommend they get started with?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think sometimes when you try to take on too much at once and try to build this habit of all these different things, then in many ways it's a bad way of doing things because it's not going to be sustainable. So I recommend anyway to start off really small, pick a few things and just make your ritual start off just 10 minutes a day, 5, 10 or 15 minutes a day. And just whatever you feel is going to benefit you the most at this stage of your life, or whatever maybe your biggest sticking point is or challenge is, try to incorporate that into that routine. So, I have a whole list of activities that someone can do, but, maybe it's waking up and just doing some meditation, or maybe it's waking up and doing those questions for a few minutes. Maybe it's getting a rebounder. I also do juicing in the morning. I just juice a bunch of vegetables and stuff, and that's part of my morning routine. Maybe it's reading a book, just reading for 5 minutes each day or 10 pages of a good book each day, because over a month, that's going to be one book per month, and you're going to be feeding yourself with that positive stuff. So I can give specific things. I think what I love for me is just doing something physical. So it could be the rebounder, jumping up and down. It could just be even just doing push-ups or an ab exercise, or just going for a walk. Doing something physical to change that physiology and just kind of loosen up your body. And as we said, that's one of the most important things that will change how you feel. Doing something physical is key. doing something mental or emotional is key. So maybe the questions that you can do, or it could even just be journaling or something like that, or the incantations, the affirmations, and then maybe something a little bit mental as well. So I like to maybe learn something, reading something to stimulate my brain. But I think as long as you engage, those three things, physical, mental, and emotional, then you'll be setting up yourself for the day the right way.
I love it, man. So I want to wrap up here. And one question that I always like to finish with, and you've already given us 10 answers to this question, but maybe there's one other thing that you might be able to touch upon briefly is people that listen to the show, they want to get an edge in their business and life. They want to find out what successful things that people have done, what successful actions people have taken to bring them the abundance they have in their life. And if you could just give one tip to people out there that maybe aren't happy with where they are on a habit or a practice they could implement into their lives to improve, that would be great.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I wish I could give like a really sexy, cool, unique thing that I haven't mentioned before, or something that's like revolutionary or something different. But honestly, that the best thing that I could say that's made the biggest impact on my life, and I think will make a huge impact for anybody that's listening to this if they just incorporate it in their lives, is a ritual. Because our life is rituals. We are basically creatures of habit. We are, they say that 95% of who we are and what we think is thoughts that we had yesterday. So I think that's one of the most important things you can do, of just taking time just for yourself each day. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It can be, but just at some point during the day, to give to yourself, to become better, to improve yourself, to grow. If you're depressed right now, if you're going through a hard time, if you're going through challenges, that's an immediate thing that you can do each day that's going to get you better. And all your problems aren't going to be solved tomorrow by doing this, but I can promise you in 30 days, if you did this, that your life is going to be a lot better than it is today. I can promise you that your business is going to be a lot better 30 days from now. If you didn't do this, as opposed to if you did, your relationships are going to be better as well. So I don't care what problem you have in your life, whatever challenge you have, or whatever your goal is, doing something like this each day for yourself to make sure that you're in a great state of just being happy each day, or grateful, or putting yourself in that resourceful state or that confident state, whatever it is that you need. I believe that whatever you need, give it to yourself first. I used to think, if I'm like lonely, or if I feel needy, like in relationships or whatever, I'll find out what is missing. What is it that I'm trying to get from making money or from a relationship, whatever it is. And I'll find what that emotion is, and I'll give that to myself each day. If it's love, and that's what's missing myself, then I'm going to give that love to myself each day. I might even have a ritual of just looking in the mirror each day and looking in my eyes and just saying, I love you. Complimenting myself, giving to myself in that way. Because that's how the way let someone know that you really love them is you tell it to them, or you spend time with them, or you do nice things for them. And when is the last time most people do that for themselves? So I think giving that gift to yourself each day, in whatever form it might be, is one of the most powerful and the best things that anyone could do.
It's great parting advice, man. So if people want to learn more about your Kindle course, about your blog, about all the different things that you're up to, and I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to know more after this 50 minutes of amazing information you give us, what is the best place for them to go?
Yeah, so my blog is a self-development blog, but I blog about everything from motivation, how to make money online, health, fitness, anything, as you said, just giving people that edge in life and business. And to get access to that, go to www.projectlifemastery.com. So projectlifemastery.com. And I do a lot of videos. I have a podcast as well, and a lot of written articles. And then if you're interested in learning about Kindle specifically, then I have a course called Kindle Money Mastery. And to get access to that, just go to www.kmoneymastery.com. So K as in Kindle, moneymastery.com.
Well, thanks again for coming on the show, man. It's been amazing, and I hope you have a great day in a peak state.
Great. Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate it.
Before we finish up with today's Mindshare, I just want to say thanks for listening to another episode of The Competitive Edge. If you enjoyed the ideas in this episode and want access to all the conversations, tactics, and mind shares we'll be sharing in the future, the best thing you can do is subscribe to the Competitive Edge on iTunes. And while you're there, if you felt like this show has made a positive impact on your day, it'd be great if you could leave us a review on iTunes as well. Now, I know we covered a lot in this episode, and there might be a few key ideas or tools that you want to remember. So we went ahead and compiled all of the notes, links, and even a full searchable transcript of this conversation for you on lifelonglearner.com. That's life-longlearner.com. I also want to give you the details on a cool contest I'm running right now at lifelonglearner.com/fun. By entering the contest, you'll have a chance to win everything from Amazon gift cards to a free month of having your very own dedicated virtual assistant to an opportunity to come and hang out with me and my buds for a few days where we'll teach you how to create your very own passive income stream. To enter this contest and learn more about everything we're giving away, head on over to lifelonglearner.com/fun. Did you know you could be turning your gym visits into cash? I want to tell you about a cool new service today called Spotter. Most health insurance providers reward you for being a gym regular, yet a lot of people don't know this. Spotter, SPOTT3R.com, is a service that helps you get that money back just for going to the gym like you already are. Sign up once and you're done. If you're eligible for a refund, they will make sure you get it. So if you want to get paid for going to the gym like you already are, or maybe even start going to the gym, head over to spotter.com, that's SPOTT3R.com, and cash in on those workouts. All right, mindshare time. So in today's conversation with Stefan, we talked about a lot of this mental tools that we use and state and all of these things to control our strongest muscle, which is our mind. And I thought I would share a practice that's really been helpful to me and something that I actually started getting more into and being active about after my conversation with our previous guest in episode 4, Mark Devine of Seal Fit and Unbeatable Mind. So we tend to have all of these bad thoughts that enter our mind, that stress us out, that occupy our attention so that we can't focus on things that make us feel good or things that we want to focus on. And I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy and I'm going to seem like a total weirdo, but this practice really works that I'm about to share. And basically, the idea is that when you have these thoughts enter your mind, you want to recognize them, and then you immediately want to replace those with a more empowering thought or mindset. And what I've really has been most helpful to me is coming up with some go-to phrases. They're really like jingles that I tell myself when I feel a bad thought coming on. And when a bad thought is coming in your mind, we tend to focus on that thought. It tends to permeate our entire minds, and it becomes really hard for us to focus on anything else but this thing that's making us feel bad. So that's why it's so important to basically combat this as fast as possible and just remain in a positive state and a positive mind frame. So I have 4 go-to jingle phrases, whatever you want to call them, that I use whenever I feel a bad thought coming into my mind to protect my mind from all the bad things that come with negative thinking and negative self-talk. So the first one is actually one I learned from Mark Devine. And I literally sing this to myself, and I'm going to seem like a total fool right now, but I'm going to sing it how I sing to myself in my head when I feel that negative thing coming to my mind. I'll just say, looking good, feeling good, ought to be in Hollywood. And this for me does a couple things. When I say this, it interrupts my pattern, it interrupts that thought, and all of a sudden just puts me into this anchored state of feeling awesome because I've associated with that phrase. It literally is saying the things that I want to feel. And we are just really, the way that we feel is really just manifestations of what we think in our head and our perceptions. So when you say that, it's so hard to feel bad. And I'll say it like 3 times in a row. Looking good, feeling good, ought to be in Hollywood. Looking good, feeling good, ought to be in Hollywood. And I'll move my arms and I'll walk down the street and people think I'm a total crazy person. But it really works. Second one that I'll say is friends, family, and love. That's what I'm thinking of. And a lot of times I use this in instances where I'm stressed out about work or my professional success or whatever it is. And this happens to me a lot, to be quite frank. Like, I'm an ambitious dude, and a lot of times I don't feel like I'm doing enough or whatever it is. And when this happens, I just try to bring the focus back to the things that really matter in my life. And that's the people I care and love in my life. And that's the most important thing, that all this other stuff is replaceable, is a renewable resource. And what's not renewable are the friends, family, and love that I have. And that's what I want to focus on. And that it's all good because I'm blessed enough to have that. The third one is one that I use when I'm about to encounter or take on a project that is daunting. I'll say, and this is from a song you might recognize, the first part at least, I'll say, I've got the power, I'm unstoppable. I've got the power, I'm unstoppable. And, you just say this to yourself and you start to build conviction that you can do anything. And if you keep saying this to yourself over and over every single day, it just becomes the truth. You do become unstoppable. You can do anything, and anything that you face that seems daunting, you can just immediately crush that initial, this is going to be way too hard, with this type of phrase, jingle, whatever you want to call it. Another one that I use that's a little bit easier, a little bit shorter, and I use this more frequently in these kind of situations that are anxiety-inducing or stressful or whatever. So like, let's say I don't want to go to the gym because I'm like, this is so hard. Or I don't want to do my cold shower routine. I've been taking cold showers every morning to wake myself up. Or I don't want to go talk to a pretty girl I see in the street that I know I should talk to. I will just say to myself, easy peasy, piece of cake. Whenever that thought comes into mind, that negative, I can't do this, this is scary, oh my God, this is hard, I don't feel it. Easy peasy, piece of cake. Whatever it is, it's easy, it's a piece of cake, I got this. And again, you're just interrupting your pattern, interrupting this thought, and now ideally replacing that with the thought that this is easy, you can do this, just with this little mnemonic that you can use. So these are 4 jingles that I rely upon on a daily basis as part of my morning routine. I actually say these out loud 5 times each, just to remind myself that I have these tools available to me today at any time that I have a negative thought or something seems daunting every single day. And I've been doing this for a couple months, and it's absolutely awesome. So I recommend thinking about situations in your life that cause you stress, cause you negative thoughts, and come up with just a few short, memorable, catchy phrases that you can call upon to basically interrupt your pattern, ward off these bad thoughts, and ultimately make you just remain in a positive state. And if you really want to, build upon this, you can add this to your morning routine. When you wake up in the morning, just say each one 4 to 5 times. And a great thing you can do as well is basically anchor this to a particular activity you're already doing. So you can say it when you're making breakfast, you can say it when you're in the shower, whatever it is, have some trigger that while you do a particular morning activity, you're always going to say these things to yourself and say them out loud and move your arms and get your physiology involved when you do that, because that makes it way more powerful. So I hope you enjoyed this mind share. This has been really fun for me to talk about. And honestly, I'm curious to see what people think of this, because they probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay because it really works. And I want to help you guys in your journeys as well. So thanks so much. I hope you have an excellent day, and I will see you on the next episode.